Australia's bushfires have been devastating. Around 25 people dead, almost 2,000 homes destroyed and more than 8 million hectares burnt. But through it all, one thing has shone through: the extraordinary generosity of ordinary Australians, people wanting to help in any way they can. Airbnbers are offering their places for free. Bands are playing special concerts. The original Wiggles have reconvened. Businesses, big and small, are passing on profits. Nick Kyrgios has proved that he is a nice guy after all by pledging $200 for every ace he hits this summer. And Ash Barty is giving her entire prize money from the Brisbane International. Eclipsing them all is comedian Celeste Barber. She has raised $40 million already just by posting on her social media pages. In Victoria, farmers from all over the state are trucking over hay to their mates in East Gippsland.
Right now they're already devastated with these losses, so if it can keep their cows fed and the cattle fed and everything, then hopefully they'll, in the long run they'll be able to keep on their feet and keep going.
The generosity has been overwhelming, in some ways too overwhelming.
We don't need more food, we don't need more clothing. We have so much of it, so generous have people been, that it's causing a big logistics challenge. The best thing to do, give money, whether it be $1 or more. Every donation helps.
That's a sentiment echoed by relief organisers on the ground.
Cash donations are the most effective at a time like this. What they really need is cash quickly to get back on their feet. So the money that we provide to those Gippslanders in their time of need is often used for clothing, accommodation, food and those sorts of things.
Here's the thing, the money that you donate doesn't always end up in the right places. Here in East Gippsland, there have been reports of door knockers and callers trying to scam residents out of money by asking for bushfire donations.
People who want to take advantage of communities now are the lowest of the low.
There have been similar issues online. The ACCC has set up a special hotline for people to report bushfire-related scams. There have been 86 reports since September, half of them made just today. There are so many ways and platforms through which you can donate money, such as the Salvation Army Disaster Appeal website or the New South Wales RFS donations page. But before you hand over your hard-earned cash, there are a few things to bear in mind.
Think carefully about where the money is going. Secondly, I would suggest have a think about how much of that money is actually going back to the community members. And third point would be to think about where there's a particular cause that you're passionate about.
And journalist Jan Fran joins us live from Bairnsdale. Jan, we know that looters have been targeting fire-ravaged communities across New South Wales, but what's it been like in East Gippsland?
Yeah, look, PVO, I think we've had similar instances here quite early on, just after New Year's when the fires sort of first took hold. There were reports of that sort of behaviour happening. I know that the police here are taking it very, very seriously. The Emergency Services Minister of Victoria said as much just a few hours ago. They've increased police presence in towns around this area. We've seen that firsthand. And I actually think that looting is something that weighs heavily on the minds of residents, particularly those residents who've not yet been able to come back to their home. That's something that we spoke to quite a number of people about. So given the police presence in a lot of these towns, I think those sort of instances have abated somewhat.
Jan Fran, Barthy here. I know some tourist towns have been absolutely smashed. How's it going there in Gippsland?
Yeah, look, Barthy, it's much the same here. As we know, Lakes Entrance is a very popular holiday destination. The town is home to approximately 4,000 people, but in the height of summer, the population swells to about 30,000. So you can imagine just how much money would go into the town in that period of time, which is effectively this period. A lot of people do rely on tourists as their only means of income for the year, and that really has been decimated quite a bit. So we are seeing very, very similar things here, and I know that businesses have asked that if you do want to help out in these kind of situations, have a think about maybe being a tourist to one of these towns in the next few weeks, months and potentially even years to come.
Jan, lives for people in these communities, they've just been turned completely upside down. Can you give us a sense of the atmosphere in the places that you've seen today?
Look, I think people are still quite shocked by what has happened. I know that there are people whose main concerns are, we spoke to a gentleman yesterday whose business burnt to the ground, and his main concern was how his employees were going to make money because they no longer had a job anymore. So people do have immediate concerns in this particular time, but I think people are a little bit anxious about how they will rebuild, if they will rebuild, what sort of support they will get. And so that's why we're seeing a lot of emergency services personnel and fireys asking for cash rather than goods, because different people will have different needs. You've got business owners, you've got families, you've got people displaced, you've got people who need to feed livestock as well. And cash is really going to go the furthest in helping these communities rebuild.
Thanks for your time, Jan.